I'm going to be streaming live on our Spreaker account because this is the most important part of the movie because I love the discussions and love some ideas that come out of the discussion, some of the symbolism that come out of the movie. Even though it was violent, now I got to sit down and watch it because I didn't get a chance to see it. But I want to thank everybody for supporting us that came out to the mall. And
to the movie.
That's
okay, well.
That's recording us, our faces.
No, that's recording.
That's a microphone.
That's a microphone.
Audio.
Okay. It's
so,
it's an omnidirectional microphone. It can pick up everybody.
So anyway, like Sister Eunice was talking about how one thing about the movie is this, there was other Purge series and this is a prequel, which is what they were supposed to be using to, base everything else on. You want to do the discussion, how Tim said? Did you see the whole movie?
Yes.
So, their purpose is if they're going to pick a group of people, it's going to be us.
Low income, expendable by their definition.
Lack of money.
So one thing I want to point out though that I noticed in the movie, I'll sit down here, that really stood out to me was the Skeletor character. In the beginning of the movie, if you know, he has all the African kind of facial scarring and things like that. And in the beginning of the movie, he's killing other black people. And then if you notice his facial expressions, when he came in and he seen all those white folks killing black people, he had like a facial expression where he's like, motherfuckers, like, I've been duped all this motherfucking time. I've been fighting the wrong war. You my fucking enemy, not my brothers. And then he became that real African warrior that he was. And he came in and he took some out with him, you know what I'm saying? But his tribal markings, I thought that was real significant in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to do. First was just hear some feedback from what, like, people's impression. Like, what was like your main takeaway?
The fact that they disguised themselves and they brought in the military. When they saw that the people, well, they were going to do that anyway, obviously. They saw the people, for the most part, were not harming one another to a certain degree.
Right.
Then they they came in their proud sheets, and they came in military uniforms, which is a problem because the brother was a former soldier. That's how they knew they were Burks, by their markings on the tattoos and stuff. So this makes
Demetrius,
and then were former military.
Well,
they knew what all that stuff meant. The problem with that is it makes people scared to join the military, which is what they really don't want us, because they don't want us to learn their dirty little tactics or their weaponry. They don't, especially those of us, like us ladies, some of us will fuck you up. Excuse my language.
That's like a double-edged thing. Cause
I saw like eugenics, going on, she's going to try to, purge the world, and then you saw the political, they're going to do this experiment. Not to say that the experiment is not really happening anyway,
right?
In real life,
right?
We don't know, when we're programmed, because we're not thinking for ourselves. We think we're thinking, but we're not thinking.
where did you see the eugenics? Like, can you tie that to a specific?
When she came in,
to the lady.
Just use one, just this Allen. She phrased it under, like an Allen experiment. But most of the people in the Allen were black people or people of color.
You talking about the white lady that?
Yeah.
She got killed, right?
Yeah.
Because she
But initially, according to her studies, she thought that this was going to be a situation where, black people were going to just all kill each other. And I think that it was the dude who was the assistant to the president. I think he wanted to do the eugenics thing more so than she. She just did the research, and according to her research, black folks was going to kill each other and everything, and that's why they was kind of like, wait a minute now, I thought you said, according to your research, that these Negroes was going to kill each other, and they ain't. They taking the money and kicking it.
So how neatly does that story that they created to tell a story, how neatly does that fit into where we at now? Is it a pretty even overlap almost?
It's good.
saying,
Well, because a
like
lot
if
of
something
times-
like that was to happen to us, do you think that we would
I would
take the
hope not.
opportunity to hurt
Well,
each other?
because people are poor. They don't. The young man said he couldn't see a way out.
But the money.
They sleep with roaches and all this stuff. They got them in this project. So, there was no hope for the people, it would have been good to try a program, like if we educate the people, we give everybody, education, people gonna open their business and stuff like that. But instead of doing a positive, they did a negative. And, going to take our country, that some sort of that little slogan there.
Make America great
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, they did kind of
Yeah.
respin it.
I was going to say that this parallels real life in a
Yes.
lot of ways. That's one of the things. I think he said that we're going to resurrect America again. And I think whoever wrote this movie was purposely taken from what Donald Trump says, we're going to make America great again, which is really his
That's
in
the spirit
disguise
of that.
way of saying, when we ask who was America great for, it was always great for white men in particular, white women second.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, in real life we had the Tuskegee experiments. We've had Tulsa. We've had all kinds of things that parallel this in real life. And what I see from it, to be quite honest, what makes this movie, and it's not a horror movie, but it should be, and I'll tell you why, we're not too far removed from that actually happening.
Right.
Right. If it
It's
hasn't.
very, I'll be honest with you, I'm willing to bet you if we put the Purge on the ballot, I bet you we get hundreds of thousands of signatures. I'll tell you some of the main people who would sign. The NRA would sign. Because white men with guns, let's be honest, they love using them on us.
And we don't understand.
And
that
they would be
have
the
that
main
arsenal
ones to
built
sign up for it.
They have an arsenal built up.
Absolutely.
And we don't have an arsenal.
If you want to, you're right.
It just
We
so
do.
happened it just so happened that the brothers had done a gun deal that they
Correct.
Because they have the guy had bazookas,
Correct.
They
And
had
keep- yep.
bombs, stuff. Like for us, that would be no one. Actually, everybody was killed in that apartment building.
And in the church.
Yeah, and the church.
And that's
Yeah, and
another thing that,
that was
I wanted to touch on. Go
everybody,
ahead.
nobody survived. Those 4 people or 5
Yeah.
people did not survive.
Yeah, and you notice how they draw. This happens in real life. What do black people run to in times of harm? Church.
And party.
And the club.
Correct.
Right.
And partying.
It's the same. I'm gonna
Right.
offend somebody, but I think it's the same energy. It's the same
I
it's
agree.
a
Oh,
release.
yeah.
I agree.
I want to ask the young people though, like, was y'all was here for the whole movie? Y'all watched
Yeah.
the whole movie, and I see my man right here. He kind of got his phone. No.
Okay.
I didn't. I was just wondering, did you see the whole movie?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
So yeah, I wanted to hear from y'all. Actually,
what
I
y'all
wanted to
wanted?
pull you because I feel like it's our fault that we didn't pull you into the conversation.
Yeah, I
so I wanted
kind
to
of
fix that.
came in at the last minute.
Oh, okay.
Just got here.
Well, so-
Okay, so you get to see it.
Not
Well,
the-
yeah,
not
I
the
mean,
whole
if
thing.
you, so y'all got to see the whole movie.
I saw part.
Yeah, they did.
So I want to. Do you want to just any automatic thoughts that you
It
want to
kind
share?
of, I was agreeing with him. It kind of does tie into what really goes on in real life, and I do understand that we aren't really far from that actually being, a real thing.
What type of things do you see that makes you feel like we're not far from that?
Well, I mean, he was right. White people do like using guns on us a lot, and it's kind of scary to think that we can't really unite, like black and white always going at it. If it's not one, it's the other. So I just thought this movie kind of projected that, in a way.
I want to ask you, or ask a question in general, but I want to direct it to the young people first. Like,
Where y'all going? Okay.
what is it? Because we gotta keep in mind, it's 2 things that happened in that movie that I saw that really made an impression on me. On one hand, we saw black people unite and black people support black people in different ways and kind of coming through for each other in the end. But on the other hand, it was a Hollywood movie, and Hollywood seems to always have an agenda. So why is it that what's happening when we see Hollywood portraying a black hero and all of that.
Yeah.
What
Which
kind of
is
comes to
rare.
mind? Yeah, is that?
That's
And we've
a
seen it a
setup.
lot
That's
in
a setup.
2018. I feel like Black
That's a
Panther.
setup.
We had a lot of different movies.
But that's a setup. You know, when you understand, you know, that, you know, for us to have that arsenal of guns, you know, that's not real. You know, I mean, I'm saying that, you know, like
They would come and
yeah,
check on
yeah.
us.
I mean,
No,
you
illegally.
know, you would have to have an army. These people were military special trained.
Yeah.
This guy was a drug dealer, and I think that would give me, you know, give the illusion that, you know, like one man, Rambo, can go in there, you know, and kill up all these people.
The Django
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah, you know, like we gotta understand that, you know, like these people could have put tanks in. They were shooting from the air.
Yeah, they had
You
the
know,
drones.
you know, and that would give a young person, I think, a false, you know, like try to attack the United States. You know, you know, there's, you know, like you can't go out there and beat them gun with pistol. You know?
Kind of like the young
I
boy
got
that
it.
went after
Can
Skeletor.
the sister
and-
back here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let me
Go ahead,
to
Brett.
I feel like, first off, I feel like what you were saying about Hollywood. I feel like they know that we collectively can't do that.
Right.
Hollywood knows that we are not capable of doing that. So I think that that's Hollywood slapping the face to us.
Yeah,
'Cause they know that we're not able to
That's
do
a
that.
setup.
That's the
And I also feel like they made it seem not that bad. Like, okay, you're just gonna chill, you're gonna get this money, just sit for the night, you're gonna get this money, and then they was like, okay, we're just gonna party and get our little check and stuff, and that's not what happened. They lied, and I feel like that's what the government does. They make things, they minimalize things, and they make sure that make sure it's a joke and it's a game and it's a show or whatever, but it's not. And that's what I feel like they were trying to say.
Miss Eunice, both of those boys, including the one drug dealer, both of the drug dealers were former military.
Yeah, they
I'm
used to
saying,
be-
I'm saying,
They
in
knew
this room,
what all that
in
stuff
this
was.
room, in this room, if we were attacked, only several people have guns.
Okay.
Okay? Only several people have guns.
That
And
you saw
probably
what
none
the
of us
family
have
did with
the
the knives
militia
and
And then
arsenal that they
once we use our 6 bullets or our carton of bullets,
Let's go.
where are the rest of them? So, you know, like, I'm saying, you know, like, we gotta be realistic, you know, when it comes to using guns, because we don't make guns, we don't make no bullets,
No.
and so.
And
we
it's
don't have no
always been
assault
like that
rifles.
since they drug us over here.
Right.
It's always
They,
been like
they have assault
I got it.
rifles, I mean, those was some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Robert's next, and then I'm gonna go ahead,
I
Robert.
just want to say, we killed too many of each other than trying to, like that movie there, we killed too much of each other right
We
here
did.
to Columbus, Ohio,
Oh.
that anything else. We are known to kill each other. But the white folks out there,
They killing each
Hold
other.
on, hold on.
They killing each other too.
Well, the thing about that
We
is,
gonna kill a country.
if you pay attention to the movie, though, it's just from the movie aspect, we don't kill each other as much as they
It's what
portray
they try to
we
make
do.
it seem.
So they came back in the end and said that we all killed each other, and we didn't.
And we were
And
just
if
trying
you
to make
look at,
we were just trying to get this money and chill out like we're doing right now. We just want to get this money
Like
and chill
Tariq
out.
Nasheed, Tariq Nasheed had talked about when in Chicago there was a weekend in Chicago and it was like 100-some people died just over that weekend, and he feels like that was a purge that they took place there,
That was the police, just like in here.
and
That
but
was
they
the
identify it
government has
as
been
black
always our
people.
attacker.
So you have to question the so-called statistics that they put out there about this black on black crime and us killing so much of each other because you have so many so-called unsolved murders that are supposedly black on black, but they're unsolved or they can't find the individual when it could have very well been these police officers having a little purge off for the
I
weekend.
wanted to
I
go
see
back
Kwame
to
back there, brother Kwame
Okay,
back there
Brother
being real
Kwame.
patient. I want to hear what he got to say.
First of all, I got my pen here from me and Charlotte.
Okay.
I was taking it. But I've heard ideas of eugenics, purging, and really all of them are under the same umbrella. But I would call our minds to remember back in the early 80s, where
child
Yeah, that
murder.
was the.
I
that
just was
the
talking to
late-
y'all about
was the
that
late
not too long
70s,
ago.
brother, remember?
Yeah,
That was the late
like-
70s.
Oh, thank you.
Because I think they so called themselves capturing Wayne,
Wayne Williams, but I
in
don't-
77.
But none of the children described Wayne Williams.
Right.
But even
There
more
wasn't none
important,
there. But
not to just not to dismiss what you're saying because that's on point. And to add to what you were about to say is that my brother Noma did an FBI check on the number of children disappearing in Atlanta after Wayne Williams was locked up. It was as much and even higher. And so what I'm saying is that I think this, I don't know what the hell it is. I have a feeling that we have a lot of children disappearing for either sex trafficking or
Organ.
organ, thank you, organ transplants and stuff like that. So,
Go ahead.
just suffice it to say that whether there's a purge going on or eugenics, we have a lot of people unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Hey, before we move on, when you talked about the Hollywood hero, this sister right here was right on point, and I don't think we expounded on your point enough. It should bother everybody in this room that the definition of a black Hollywood hero is being defined by a white director, a white-owned organization, a white screenplay writer, etc. If you notice, though, even the man that they made a hero, what was his profession? Did they make a stockbroker a hero?
No.
Okay. Did they make an attorney the hero? If you notice the majority, anybody looked at this movie and said, what were the fathers in here? What were the fathers? Isaiah being raised by his sister. Her the two Hispanics. I didn't see a wedding ring or anything. Single mom, blah 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 blah. Now, notice that every one of the black people
And goodbye. Snoring.
every one of the black people in this was the stereotypical ghetto thug, street-wise. You didn't see none of them, well, I'm in college, I'm in this, I'm in that. So before they finally allowed him to be a hero, what did they do? So if a white audience saw this, and even if a black audience, when they saw this, they did a great job of programming us. Remember, this is how most black people are. And they made it, one of you said, so unrealistic that we wouldn't think of Dimitri in real life. So we're like, hey, it's good that we came out on top. But look what they did before they got there. They did a great job of programming us. And anybody white, that's how, excuse my language, that's how niggas are.
I want to tie it all
everybody-
together.
Notice everybody that was observing were Oriental and white.
Yep. Good
I
point.
want to tie everything that's happening right now. I'm going to start with something that happened a couple weeks ago when a young 15-year-old girl got approached by the man at the store, asked for a phone number. Her brother went in the next couple days, cussed him out. It ended up getting it literally went viral, got 1 million views. So we went out there, we shut the store down. And today, that's like about almost 2 weeks ago. Today we at Gye-Nyame Market. We are all here Gye-Nyame Mall. We're here to redefine how we are interacting with each other, how we're spending our money. So then they take it to the movie, even with the main character being a drug dealer. That's still marketplace. No matter how you slice it, economics is the centerpiece. And that was kind of what they was banking on, that because everybody was poor, that they was gonna kill each other.
Right.
And that's kind of they banking on the fact that we're gonna turn the worst of us is gonna come out when it's about money. When it's about eating, and that's inevitably gonna happen. So I think that this is kind of showing us the importance of why we're here today. When we have market, when we we are at war, whether we know it or not. We've been at war for hundreds of years. You know what I mean? So when we realize it's like a cold war, you know, but when it's a hot war, when it's literally like you hiding or shooting, that's all life consists of. You still got to eat then. So what this is teaching us now, and I think it's a lot. I try to keep my opinion out of things, but I think there's a lot of people that are under the impression that that's kind of inevitable, that we're going to get back to the place of open warfare. When we wake up, it's almost inevitable, right? Because if they going to spend 400 years holding us down, then when we stand back up, they're not going to be like, oh, okay, they're going to fight, right?
I think, you know, when we think of, you know, the comeback is not at their level, because poor to us is not the same as poor to them. Right. You know, like they say poor, you know, like you have not reached a certain status at a certain time in life. You know, we're not about trying to be at 35 being the CEO of a company. You know, although if we were controlling our own at 35, you'd say, you know, you've made that mark for to be the CEO for your own company. But you know, we're trying to make it in somebody else's house and not our house. And so when we buy into the drug thing, we're buying into their house instead of saying, you know, like we can grow.
All of it, really. When we buy into the dollar, we kind of buying into the house. Like I think it would be most beneficial to us if we could get back to a place where we were trading goods for goods and finding a way to negotiate that between ourselves and not obviously not today or tomorrow, 50 years maybe even, but to plant the seed of weaning ourselves off of the dollar is going to be in the best interest of our survival.
One thing I just want to bring up is how we're talking about them portraying.
Okay, we real quick, I forgot I had stuff to give away, so we're gonna do a quick little trivia piece so I can get this stuff away. And first question being, because we have coming up soon, is the Malcolm X Revolutionary Festival, and I'll answer by show of hands. Who knows when Malcolm X's birthday is? Brother Robert.
May the 19th.
You got it. Come on up here and get you a prize,
Brother
Robert.
Robert.
How many prizes you got?
I don't know, Chad. I can't remember. Okay.
Yeah.
What size shirt you wear, Robert? I can't see. I don't have
portray
my
him
glasses
as
on.
a
What's this
drug
say?
dealer. But what I'm noticing is most movies, when we're never portrayed as heroes, especially of black men, because you guys doggone well. The ending of that movie could have been them girls
Here's Brother Robert's
being
shirt.
the heroes and the brothers
Gil
being.
Scott Heron.
And
I
they
got a
ain't
lot of his
Heron.
music.
taking the rest of them military.
He's one of my
people.
favorite
They always
artists.
be trying to punk our men.
Oh yeah,
I mean, don't get me
absolutely.
wrong. The trade that he was
Okay, where are these shirts
in
belong to me?
it was foul and everything, but the true soldier in him for his people
That's my shirt.
came out at the end when he saw what was going on. Him and the other
And Skeletor.
gangsters, all the
I'm
other
doing
ones
okay. I'm doing
joined
okay.
together to protect what was left of the neighborhood until the drones came. So they could have just
They could have
completely
easily just
killed
gone.
him, and the girls would have been on their own.
Correct.
And they could have ended up being made the heroes because they don't be trying to make our brothers the
No,
heroes too
no,
much.
no, no. This
Let's be
new
for
modern,
real,
this
you
new
know?
modern feminism movement
Yeah.
is trying to take men out of the
Well,
household,
they didn't take
but they're
him out
more
of this
so
one,
trying to
but
take
Okay,
them out of
where
the black
did the
household.
Purge movie take place?
Staten Island, New York.
By hand. No, you raised your hand. What is it? Okay, you want to come up and get a shirt? What size you wear? I don't think I got no smalls, honey, but you'll have to look and see.
I'll wear whatever.
Between these two.
I'll wear it as a nightgown.
What size is this two right here? I don't know what.
But that's the one thing that did stand out for me because they had
I thought it was a lie.
military people coming and killing those
But that's a
folks.
large
But what stood out was the soldier in those young
That's a
men
large.
came out and
No, that's a woman's shirt. You want a woman's shirt, Robert?
Oh no, I want my
But
woman's
at the
shirt.
same time, what it didn't like I said, is making the military something
You got
black
Gil
people
Scott
don't want to
Heron.
join.
Yeah.
So that way we don't know about their weaponry and the skills and stuff. And we should learn. You know,
Like,
it is better to go
coming
in
in
and
tonight.
there's no warning.
Are you?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, what you want to say?
May 19th, Malcolm X. Let's never forget.
I have a question about it. Clearly, I didn't see the movie nor did I hear. But was there
Okay, what was,
It made it feel
I
like
got a
maybe black
question.
men could be
What was
irrelevant.
Harriet Tubman's name? Her first name? All right, you got your hand up? Okay. Brother Kwame, we got you a Gil Scott shirt.
I would have thought it was Harriet. Exactly. I'm like, Harriet?
Is it large?
What's the number to 911? 911?
For a nightgown from 100.
Where's
Okay.
that?
And
In Africa.
can't see it. Let's say extra large. What color were, so show of hands, what color were the contact lenses in the movie? Tanya, you first. Come on up and pick, you can pick from
Assume.
this
They
is what we
tried.
got left.
They tried to like zombie eyes those people. The undead killing, dead. It was just
This, Tanya,
creepy.
you want this or this?
Oh, that.
I wonder how it would have turned out if it was
Okay.
a horror movie.
It was a horror movie if you think about it.
To a certain
Okay, and the
But you got
last
lines too, huh?
question
Still
is
large.
Yeah.
what I can't think of anything. Let me think.
I got it.
You got a question, Kwame?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Lavon, could you grab me that other marker thing? Yeah. Ask you. Okay, Kwame's gonna ask you.
Here's your question.
Come on, Kwame.
So you got two people. One always lies, one always tells the truth. And you have to determine who's who. So you go to the one and you ask them, are you the liar? And the liar responds, at least one of us is a liar.
So what's the
So
question?
who's who?
Okay, the brother who got his hand up.
The only way you can determine if you don't know which is who, you just ask, what would he say? So the liar would lie and say it's him, and the truth teller would say it's me. So it's, the only question that you can ask is, what would he say?
Exactly it.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right, well, here you go.
Thank you.
I could have said
And my
that.
last question is,
I could have said that.
what? You got a question? I can't think. You want a question? You want to give somebody? Okay, so,
Figure it out.
What
what?
one is it?
Huh?
Permanent markers.
I'm taking a few of these.
Okay. What is Malcolm
been
X?
opening this
What did he change his name to?
Ooh.
Who's that with the hand? Dubai. I need the full. I can't hear you.
What's the question?
Malcolm X changed his name to.
Hajj Malik Shabazz.
Malik El Haj El Shabazz.
Nope.
It's El Malik El.
It's El Haj Malik. Okay, so let's do another one. Real quick. Let's see. Question, Quincy.
That's a lot of different colors.
Okay, what is the
Kwame!
Can somebody name the 7 principles? No, that's too hard.
No, it ain't.
Okay, can you name the 7 principles of Kwanzaa? Hands up. Okay, go ahead, please.
He just copied off of me. He didn't know that until I just said it.
What are you talking about?
We gotta split that.
Okay, so also though, before we go on the discussion piece, as far as that drug dealer part, this is something that I took away from the drug dealer part. Because I know some of the weaponry was in question. But let me tell you, you know, I know plenty of drug dealers who have plenty of hardcore weaponry. I'm not even joking with you. I'm talking about military style weapons. And that's, I mean, I have military style.
Hey, come on, now we on the air. Everyone don't need to know all that.
Well, I'm just saying, I know people that have military style weapons, and they are accessible on the street, whether
Yes,
you
they
believe
are.
it or not. They are accessible on the street.
My godmother called me, this was years ago, my godmother called me to go and confront one of my little brothers. I went over to confront him because she said he got all these guns in his mama's house. This was about 15, he was about 14 years old. So I go over there, I confront him, and I take his stuff. He had 3 handguns and a hand grenade.
Oh, God.
He was about 13, 14 years old at this time. So,
I'm telling you, they got military. I mean, I know people that have vests.
no, she don't. No, stop.
Well, I've heard of people that have had vests. I've heard of people who have had grenades. I've seen people with different, you know, military ARs, AKs, with all the fixings on it.
Yeah, I mean that's reality, but here's also what's real too. What you said was right on point. Let's be realistic. 90% of the people in that income bracket are not going to be able to afford half the stuff that you're talking about, even at street value. Let me finish my point. If it ever does get to a point that we all, like if guns are on sale for $5, you know what they're going to do? What they did in the 1970s when Ronald Reagan was governor of California. They're going to enact laws and give police officers special privileges like stop and frisk, and that's just one of them. Stop and frisk is actually tame compared to what they used to do, okay, where they can just arrest you with what they deem probable cause. And they will get your guns, because one thing this movie showed,
So
that's
it's
reality. What this movie, what truly is reality, is we get as much guns as they allow. If they at any point felt truly threatened and wanted to come down harder on gun distribution, drug distribution, whatever, they can. So they are very, whether she says it on air or not, it's no big deal. They are aware of many of us that have guns in our basement and our own little private militia courses. It ain't that they're not aware of it. You can't even cheat on your wife without them knowing about it.
Yeah, the thing
So,
is, like, all them guns help to a degree, but if you got guns, for one, you gotta have bullets. If you don't have 1,000
You gotta
rounds for
keep
any
bullets.
gun, you gotta
This
have
sister
1,000
right here,
rounds.
she's had her hand up for a while.
and that showed in Waco.
Okay.
What they did, they ran out of ammo.
So, but when I hear that, it's like, well, just don't do nothing then,
What'd you say?
because they got all the control,
What'd you say?
and you should just not do
I don't
nothing.
think
She
that's
said
what
she's
she
patient.
But
So real quick,
I
this
didn't
sister
even
back
know we
here,
were
she had a
discussing on
question.
taking action.
You don't think that's what I'm saying?
No.
I think we should, but go ahead. We should try to at least, as an individual, just try. If you have to for yourself prepare, and if other people can prepare, so be it. Oh, go ahead, sis.
I disagree with the whole getting as much guns as they allow, because I feel like a lot of people really underestimate the amount of weaponry that the government has.
Right.
Like, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, because when they decide to come get us, they come. And they're going to do it, it's going to be unexpected, and they're going to be prepared and we're not. And I feel like that's the
going out.
thing.
I'm not going out without a fight.
I mean, I understand. For people like,
I'm not going out without a fight. So I'm gonna go just
Real
like
training is
skeleton.
like,
But nobody was ever saying not to
Right.
fight. I didn't even know that issue was on the table.
Nah, I mean, you're gonna fight, but the thing of it is to give yourself the best chance. If you're gonna have a gun, me personally, I think all of the military style weapons are too big. You can't really move with them. Get nice
can't
with a
what?
pistol.
You can move with
Get nice
some.
with a pistol. That's what,
Well,
because you want to be,
but
because you
when
gotta
you're
be able
coming
to
up
move.
against an AR-15 and all you got is a 45,
That's
that's where
why-
the problem comes in.
That's
So
why you
if
gotta
you're
know
not,
the range.
if
So
you're
that was
not,
just one.
if you're not insane, if you're not a serial
Hear me
killer,
out.
if you're not mad because girls at school won't talk to you, then it's okay for you to have an AR-15, but only to protect your home in case of some crazy mess like that that should
Absolutely.
possibly
And
jump
like you
off.
The thing of it is that, and when you go in a battle, you gotta know your terrain.
It's not
You
really
gotta-
the answer, though.
We gotta The reason why Vietnam wasn't taken over was because they knew their terrain and they used their terrain for their advantage. So we can't do this urban warfare. We got to learn the woods. If you want to survive, you got to learn the woods and you got to learn how to do hand-to-hand combat.
That too.
I'm gonna say, it's because the whole piece is remembrance, discussion. There's no right answers. There's no wrong answers, and every plan fails when it comes into first contact, point blank. So you can have the best training and end up in a situation where all the training that you did makes absolutely no difference. The ones that can adapt and overcome. So we need to learn the urban warfare as well as the wood warfare.
And we also need to know the political warfare. You need to know the Wall Street warfare.
Exactly.
Because technically we on their turf. They've never made America truly, fully accessible to black people. So, as she said, and I don't know your name, sister, but as she said, having the most guns is still not the answer. That's just a small part of it. Another piece, a huge piece of it is we need to sit at the tables at the Wall Street meetings. We need to be sitting in Congress and enacting laws that's going to put money back in our pockets. That's going to allow us to get
that money.
Everybody got reparations except one race in this country, and that's black people.
That's the
and you know
ADOS
why?
talk.
And you know why? But do you know why? Do you know why that is? Because none of us, we can't even get 5 of us to agree what our plan of action gonna be.
Wait, time out. Now I'm gonna argue with you on that piece because it's like this.
See what I just said? That's feeding into my point.
What?
Now that's 2 of us, and we already disagreeing.
No, wait, hold on. Now what I'm saying,
go ahead.
I want to build on it. Let's build on it. Name one group that totally agree outside of us. See, because it's not necessarily.
Well, you
Even in the
totally,
movie, even in the
but
movie,
they
you saw
agree.
disagreement.
But they agree enough.
They killed that lady.
Hold on.
So
Hold
let me prove
on.
my
There's
point.
no group. No. We're proving each other's point, and I'll explain why.
Go ahead.
There's no such thing as a group that totally agree. I'm talking about agreeing enough to better our community and our circumstances and our economic footprint. Asians do that. They come to our neighborhoods and sell to us. You ain't got no Asian neighbor. You ain't got one. I ain't got one. They are the least. They are the ones who turn out the least to vote, but they get the most of what they want. How many Asians did you see get beat during the riots? Hardly none. The Jewish community does the same thing. Even the Hispanic community, they stick together. Are there disagreements? True, but when it comes to their economic betterment and empowerment, they stick together long enough to uplift their communities and fund their businesses. That's what I'm talking about.
Can I stop it?
I mean, I don't know why. This is a good conversation.
I mean, everybody like.
But now, this is what I'm saying. Far as we don't have to all agree.
Agreed.
Now, but like you said, we got to agree enough. We haven't reached the point of pain to where we like, damn, it hurts. So we need to move all together. Now, because I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you on that. But the only point I'm making is that oftentimes we talk about these other people as if they got something that we don't have. Now, we, as you already said, don't have an economic footing, don't have a political footing. So it's kind of hard for us to make things work in our favor. But now, in a sense, because we're able to have stuff like this, we got this big space right here, we're going to be able to get enough people to do it because we don't need everybody. All we need is a critical mass.
Agreed.
Me and you.
And
So
this is the perfect example. Like, we got more than 5 people here. You know, I think, like, just to kind of challenge you, particularly, because I think that you showing up, you being here right now is kind of challenging what you said in the sense. You know what I'm saying? Because we got more than 5 people here that agree enough that marketplace is important to show up. You know what I mean?
bringing the tables back. So
We didn't even
put us together. Let's
So, I challenge you to keep coming back. You know what I mean? To continue being part of the conversation and growing it, because there's a lot of things. Whether or not we agree, I think at least agreeing to continue to show up and have a conversation is that's kind of in a sense all we have at this stage. You know what I mean? It's a conversation, but it has to build. You know what I mean?
Hey, did you sign that? What's your name, bro?
I'm Drew. You are?
Quasi.
Nice to meet you, Quasi.
Oh, and I'm out here.
Navita introduced me. What's your name?
I'm out here.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet
Good
you.
to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you. Y'all see that? That's some nation building going on live on Gye-Nyame Channel. That's why I didn't want to cut it off. But go on, thank the people when you cut it off when you get ready. You know how to do it, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off now because it's getting. Y'all had enough. Y'all got to see a little bit into the mind of the Gye-Nyame journey, but now we gotta do some building on, use some quiet building. And that's really what it takes. Peace, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Gye-Nyame journey. Peace.